This time I'd like to call to order the Westmont Village Board meeting of March 3rd, 2016 at 6 o'clock p.m. and ask Clerk Simsky for a roll call.
Mayor Gunther?
Here.
The clerk's here. Trustee Addington?
Here.
Trustee Barker?
Here.
Trustee Barry?
Here.
Trustee Guzzo?
Here.
Trustee Little?
Here.
Trustee Nero?
Here.
Attorney Zemanek?
Here.
Village Manager May?
Here.
Finance Director Parker?
Here. May I ask everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And good evening. Welcome. The first item is open forum, and I know Chief went around and asked anybody if it's an opportunity now, if you still want to discuss any item that's not on the agenda, you still may do so by seeing Chief Mulhern filling out an open forums request. I do have one, and it's from the Westmont Chamber, and they're going to talk about Reader's Choice Vote.
I'm very excited to announce that next week we are launching a Reader's Choice program to promote our 95 restaurants in Westmont. Each and every one of us will have an opportunity to vote for our favorite restaurants each and every day over a 3-week period. And then at the Community Awards Dinner on April 25th, we will be announcing the winners in each and every one of those categories. So this will roll out next week. You'll see it in a local newspaper. You'll see it online, on social media, on our website. Encourage your friends and neighbors to vote for their favorite restaurants so we can recognize them at our Community Awards Dinner on April 25th. So just want to help get the word out there and vote early, vote often. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Moving on to reports. I am going to skip mine and come back and do it, and I'll go right to Clerk Simsky.
I want to announce that our next public information meeting will be March 31st. And as Larry mentioned, the annual Westmont Community Awards Banquet is coming up, and that will include the Westmont Citizen of the Year, the Business of the Year, Educator of the Year, Public Safety Officer of the Year, our Community Improvement recognitions. Rotary will present their Westmont Paul Harris Award. So a lot of awards are given that night, and it would be really nice if we had a great turnout. So tickets are available at www.westmontchamber.com. And the last thing I would like to say is a belated happy birthday to the mayor.
Thank you.
I believe he had a birthday on the 28th. And a happy birthday to his wife. I think hers is coming up.
No, it was 2 days before.
Or it was 2 days ago. They're very close. Anyway, happy birthday to both of you.
Thank you.
And that's all.
Okay. Attorney Zemanek.
Just like to request an executive session at the conclusion of the regular business portion of the meeting. Discuss the potential acquisition of real estate by the village for public purpose pursuant to Section 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you. Manager May.
I had nothing. Thank you.
At this point, I'll go back to the mayor's report because I don't want to miss trustees discussing things here. So it's an honor for me every time I get a chance to recognize somebody in our community, somebody who's put a lot of hours of work in. And tonight, we have that honor to recognize Ed Jenkins. And I'd like if Ed and Chief Weiss can come up to the podium. I'm going to read a little bit about Ed. And again, Ed is being honored for 45 years of volunteer service to this community. He for 45 years of service as the Emergency Management Agency volunteer in our community. We can thank Ed for his outstanding contribution to Westmont. And Chief Weiss has said this over and over. It has been an important part of our operation for more than 4 decades. His journey started in 1970 when Westmont first started to have EDSNA members, Ed was a vital part in moving Westmont EMA to where it is today. Ed was instrumental in acquiring light towers, placing EMA trailer into service for use in emergency situations. He was not only a true leader, but you could call him the father, or the founding father of our EMA program. So Ed, I'd like to present you with a token of our appreciation. A plaque that says, "The Village of Westmont honors Ed Jenkins, EMA Deputy Coordinator, member of the Village's Emergency Management Agency, September 1970 to June 2015. A recognition of more than 45 years of dedicated volunteer service to the community." And your 45-year pen, which had to be broken into two, because they don't make 45. But congratulations. All right. Thank you. And you've got, let me put it over here. All right, do it. You still need to stand up. You can't go anywhere yet.
Yeah, I just, on behalf of the village and the Westmont Fire Department and Westmont EMA, we wanted to do something special for Ed because of his contribution to the village and EMA. And I've been wanting to do one of these for a while, and it takes somebody that's been here a long time. But we're going to present tonight our first Lifetime Achievement Award to Ed Jenkins. And on this day, March 3rd, 2016, for your 45 years of demonstrating extraordinary service and accomplishments while serving as a representative of the Westmont Emergency Management Agency, for being an exemplary role model, for countless contributions to those in need, for representing the highest qualities, serving as a deputy coordinator, advocate, leader, visionary, mentor, and teacher, and most importantly, for your ever-growing love and passion for the citizens of Westmont and all the Emergency Management Agency members. Your family at the Westmont Emergency Management Agency and the Westmont Fire Department celebrate you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to have Ed's wife,
Alex.
come up a minute. And on behalf of all of us, we'd like to present you with some flowers.
She sacrificed too. And volunteered.
And, you know, for many years, she has supported Ed and all the EMA members in Westmont. And it's your support that's behind the scene that he was able to do what he did. And so we want to give these to you. Okay, and say thank you for the 45 years that you allowed Ed and shared Ed with us to do what he did for our residents in our village. So thank you very much.
Really amazed by it.
And, you know, podium's yours. Feel free to.
I won't stay long because or here long because I didn't prepare anything. But I wanted to mention one guy that was really responsible for me getting here, Rod Hubbenreiser. And I met Rod and Bob Placotti, if some of you know him, back in the summer of 1970 after I got my ham radio license. And they invited me to come here and serve with the Civil Defense, it was called at the time, because of our communications abilities. So I brought some of my abilities to the town and learned a lot. and wound up spending a lot of time here, as you can tell. And I don't want to forget Alex's time here. Not only has she supported me, but she taught at Manning for quite a long time, well, in 201 actually as a sub for quite a long time, and then volunteered there when my granddaughter was in the primary grades at Manning. And she's now a freshman in high school. So we're still tied to Westmont a lot, besides just EMA and the school district, but we have a lot of friends here, and it's been a pleasure working with the police officers, the firefighters, and their officers and chiefs who have been great and wonderful to work for and work with. And I hope that continues as transitions continue. And I'm part of the transition, but you have a great group of people here that are carrying things on. And again, I just appreciate the chance to volunteer here. Thank you again very much for an award I didn't expect, one I knew I was getting, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
And again, that's one of the joys of being the mayor, is make a presentation like that, and finding somebody that's here longer than Addington, so that's the other thing. So we'll move on to the trustees, and I'll start with trustee Addington.
Oh, okay. Just a couple of things tonight, thank you. And Ginny, I thought you might have mentioned it, but is early voting is on now?
Yes, I mentioned it the last two meetings.
Did you? Okay.
But yes,
So-
it's going on right now.
And you can go to
Downers Grove,
Downers Grove Village?
yeah, the Village Hall.
Okay,
You can also go to Yorkville.
yeah.
Or Yorktown Shopping Center.
I also included for all of you the latest issue of the DuPage Mayors and Managers Legislative Committee meeting. If you get a chance to review it, I won't go over it because you'll have a chance to read it, just to say that nothing's changed much from the last times that I've reported, but we keep trying. Back on the table in our little room there is a stack, bunch of papers. And what's nice is DuPage Mayors and Managers contacted the other Council of Governments, and they now have looked at our top priorities and matched them up to top priorities from some of the other COGs. And so you can see those items that are on everybody's list, you know, protect local revenue, or, you know, make home rule easier, and some of those things. But you also can see some of our priorities that's on anybody else's list. So it's interesting. You get a chance to review it. I think Patty also sent that out in the This Week in Westmont, so you have a chance to look at it. On economic development, of course, lots going on. We had a meeting yesterday morning and heard the beginnings of the presentation for all of the new work that's being done at the Hilton Hotel. They've already spent about $7 million internally in some remodeling efforts within the hotel, but now they're talking about doing some other things. And the showcase of what they want to do is to bring in an Olympic grade swimming and diving facility that would probably be able to hold meets for Illinois High School Association, for the colleges. I think she said it was 6 or 8 lane swimming pool for the meets, plus a pool for warm-ups, and then I think the diving. So that could be an unbelievable facility for us to have in our community. Again, they have not finished their application, but that'll go on hopefully in April to planning and zoning, and then you'll hear more about that as it goes along. But it was exciting to see the money that they're talking about putting into this community, not only what they're doing on the remodeling, but then the additional things that they want to bring in over there. Mariano's is going to open up the week of the 14th. I think their proposed first day of business is the 15th of March. That's another several $1 million project that's coming in. We have Bria, which is open. We went there. If anybody ever gets a chance to stop in at 65th Street and see that facility, and a lot of us got a chance to go over there. It's unbelievable what they've done, and again, several $1 million there. The Hilton we talked about, Mariano's Pathway Senior Living Project is now under construction at 63rd Street, and Westmont Village is also under some construction with a lot of stuff. So 4 of those projects are in the South Westmont Business District, which really builds that up now, and we're hoping that those things continue. But again, a lot of positives and several $1 million of new investments into this community. The other thing to mention is new fire station, or excuse me, new fire engine, which some of us got to see last night. That'll be in service when, Chief?
About March 14th or 15th.
About March 14th or 15th. It's a beautiful engine, and we're glad to have it added to our
Bring it to
crew.
Mariano's with you.
That's it, yeah. And maybe we can put it outside here at, for one of our meetings. And then the last thing, I hate to finish on something of a downer, but just so everyone knows, our great DuPage County Board Chairman, Dan Crona, lost his father. And our condolences to Dan and his family. And the Cronin family has been a great family here in DuPage County for a long time. And so our condolences to Dan. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Trustee Little.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. Recapping the Administration Committee meeting that's held earlier. We discussed a number of topics, and one was that we will not be putting vending machines in our train station. We saw changes and recent upgrades to the village IT department, which are very exciting. And we also discussed, reviewed the part-time employee potential benefits, so that's under consideration right now. And we also talked about business/liquor license review license. Sorry, let me go backwards. We're discussed business/liquor license reviews fees for upcoming, to make it a little bit more succinct. So we're working on that. We also heard from the communications director about environmental improvement. We heard about Westmont First. We heard about the 100th anniversary, social media campaign. HR discussed the 1095 reports and the a new study for performance regarding management and merits for employees. Next thing I have on my plate is just to let everybody know, remind everyone that the social media information blitz is happening right now. If you've signed up for our village social media accounts, either Facebook, Twitter, Google+, then you're noticing a lot more activity and posts from the Village of Westmont this week. They posted 3 posts this week from School Resource Officer Detective Nick Glynn, a post on coyote facts from our Community Service Officer Roseanne Terry, information about our seedling giveaway program from our Environmental Improvement Commission, and more. And today our post was for Throwback Thursday, which features Westmont history, and you'll have to go online to read that. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Trustee Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to update the Public Works Committee, our next meeting will be April 28th at 4:30 at the Village Hall. Not sure if we may have a special meeting in between, maybe if something, right? If we have some things to plan. So.
Potentially, but not scheduled.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. And a reminder that the Public Works is no longer handling the brush pickup. So that is done. This has been a couple of years now that it's done with Waste Management, and that's going to resume in April. So there's details on what you need to do on the website and also coming in Neighbors Magazine. So there's certain specifics that you need to do with putting your brush out, but Waste Management will take that every week with your normal garbage. The Environmental Improvement Commission had a special presentation at the library last evening on the topic of native plants. They had a good turnout with more than a dozen people attending, and they're going to be having more and more guest speakers over the next month. A lot of this is going to tie into their Earth Day events. So their next meeting for interested people will be the first Monday of the month at the public library. And They're trying to promote Sustainable Saturday in Lisle. They're also working with Clarendon Hills to develop a Richmond educational garden. And also to all Westmont students, if you go to the village website, there is an Arbor Day art and essay contest, and that deadline is going to be March 11th, so that's rapidly approaching. And then again, tied into the Earth Day, John Yater is working with the EIC, where the village will be able to give away seedlings, as Linda said, and you can go to the village website, and they'll be available for pickup on Earth Day, which is April 22nd, which is also the Westmont Rotary Club's reverse raffle that same evening. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Nero.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items. First off, last night, for those of you who were unable to make it, we had a special Public Safety Committee meeting to give out some great life-saving awards, but also to discuss our upcoming dispatch decision that we must make regarding fire and police dispatch. So we discussed all the options. Nothing was decided on. We heard all the ins and outs on the intricacies of the ETSB and how it relates to dispatch, and it's a headache. If you ever want to hear about it, we'll be happy to give you all the information. But we're going to be deciding soon. So there's still a lot more to come from that. We're going to kind of listen a little bit more and really get to the bottom of it so we make sure we make the best decision for the village. The next meeting will be April 14th. We may have another one in between now and then, but I think that's all that's scheduled right now. Public CPR training is scheduled for May 24th from 6:30 p.m. and there's one even in October. So again, you can sign up for this online. It is posted online if you are interested. And we may have a special guest tonight. I haven't seen him yet in the audience, but Robert Russo is going to be coming here. He is here. Okay, sorry, buddy. Never met him yet, but glad you can make it. This guy's not only an athlete here, a resident in town, but the cool part is he's doing a, and I hope I get this right, bud, community merit badge. Is that right? Yes. Community citizenship, that's right. Citizen in the Community Merit Badge. And the idea is he has to come here tonight and kind of listen and take notes and watch what we discuss and interact. And really, I think it's a great thing. I know I mentioned getting more youth involved in local government. Here's a perfect way. He's halfway, I think, on his way to his Eagle Scout badge, but more than halfway. But if you want to come up and introduce yourself and say a little bit about what you're doing, feel free. I told your mom you're more than welcome to, but you know, if not, that's all right too. But again, thanks for coming. If you have any questions, you know, we're all really happy you're here and glad to see more young people involved. So good to meet you too.
Trustee Nero, he'll have to, once he receives his Eagle Scout, we'd like to have him back here to recognize that, and then you do have to talk.
Absolutely. That will make you do it. All right. That's all I have, Mayor, sir. Thank you.
Trustee Guzzo.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. We had a Finance Committee meeting before the Administration Committee meeting, and we had a guest speaker at our meeting. It was Mary Lynn Krolak. She is the DuPage Senior Citizens Council Executive Director, and she brought us a wonderful presentation on all the great things that the DuPage Senior Citizens Council does, not only for our residents, but for the residents of DuPage County. And with our upcoming budget workshops being planned on April 7th at 6 o'clock, do not forget that. We will be discussing a grant for the DuPage Senior Citizens Council. We also discussed insurance rates, which would be health insurance rates, and that will also be up for discussion at our next budgeting workshop. And our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled at April 14th at 4 p.m. here at the Village Hall. And last but not least, I want to remind everyone, the Knights of Columbus is doing their Friday night fish fry. It's from 5 to 8. And if anyone who doesn't know, the Knights of Columbus Hall is at 25 North Cass Avenue. They would love to see you. It's great food. It's great visiting. It's just a great bunch of people. And if you have a chance, please step out during the Lent season. That's all I have.
Well, thank you. And I saved Trustee Barker for last because I know he's got some presentations to do this evening. So Trustee Barker.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. First thing is I wanted to remind everybody that there's a Community Development Committee meeting on March 17th. I don't know why they would do that on St. Patrick's Day, but on March 17th at 4:30. So join us here for that.
They are bringing corned beef. So.
It says bring your own corned beef.
All right, I read that wrong.
We'll check with Spencer to who's bringing the corned beef. But anyway, so St. Patrick's Day, yeah, a Community Development Committee meeting here at 4:30. And Also, Westmont First has been very active the last few months, and the one thing that I wanted to, two things I wanted to point out is we're developing, with the help of the Chamber and Larry Forsberg, a Westmont loyalty card, and we hope to roll that out in the next few weeks, if not month or so. But there's great enthusiasm for that, and we think it'll be a benefit for our businesses, so we're excited about that. And then the other one that we discussed at the last meeting was an idea for a volunteer challenge across all the organizations in Westmont. And if we could double the number of volunteers in 1 year's time, we could do either twice as much work or half as much work. I'm not sure how that's going to work. But anyway, we're challenging everybody to bring out one new volunteer this year. And there's some enthusiasm for that, so we're excited about that. And then finally, something that we're proud of as well is in helping the village and helping the fire department and engaging the residents. We had started an Adopt a Hydrant program through the different groups, and we promoted that through Westmont First, and we have some residents here tonight that we want to honor with that. So I'd like to call up Larry McIntyre to get everybody recognized appropriately, and then I would like to hold the applause to the end. I'd like the mayor to come out for the picture, but I'd also like to bring in Director Ramsey and Chief Weiss to that photo as well, because they're the ones that really benefit and implement this in the community.
Thank you very much, Trustee Barker. As you mentioned, this was a project that sort of overlapped several of our departments, and also we probably need to give some credit to Steve Nero, because he was one of the folks who definitely pushed this initially. But it's something that benefits the fire department more than any other department, because part of the program is asking residents to make sure that they keep fire hydrants clear of snow and debris and things like that. So that's part of the challenge. But then also our Public Works does the majority of the work by implementing the program. And I know Jim Cates, really took it on this year and made a lot of things happen. We had over 35 residents sign up for the program here in the first year, and so we feel that's a pretty good number. And we had a dozen folks that went to the furthest extent of their volunteerism and designed and painted their hydrants. And so we have 4 folks here tonight to honor. We should also mention that they will be receiving gift certificates from some of our local restaurants, and those restaurants include Sweet and Savory, Uncle Bub's, Neat, Fleming's, Absolutely Delicious, and La Petite Sweet, and DJ's. These are all Westmont First businesses that have signed up and have decided to embrace and support community events, and so that's the reason they were chosen. If other restaurants are interested in these types of benefits, we encourage them to participate as well. So, Trustee Barker, would you like to come around? We'll go ahead and Glenn, if we can get these on camera here, so that we can see the images of the winners. But we're going to start with our honorable mention, and this belongs to the Johnson family. And Yvette and Matt and everybody is here.
Tip it a little bit,
what we'll
see
do
if
is,
the glare-
you want to come on now? Okay.
Tip it a little bit, see if the glare comes off of it.
Let's see here.
Hit the source and go down to HDMI.
There we go.
Get it from somewhere.
So if Johnson family could come on up and.
It takes a couple times.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we got to have everybody.
You want them all.
Look at that, all right.
That's cute.
Bruce's baby.
And then in third place, I'm not sure if Margaret's here, but we had 2 Dalmatian entries, and so this was the second one. And this is third place. Is Margaret here tonight? No? All right, but Margaret, she was our third place winner. And then we'll move on then to our second place winner, and that is the Ollier family. And this is Xavier.
All right.
Ouija.
Nice job. Beautiful.
All right, and then our first place winner is Judy Kaloha, and she created this gnome. Though we have to ask a question because a lot of people are curious what material was used to create that beard.
The beard is basically a lid, plastic lid from a coffee
Okay.
thing. And it's got the indoor insulation in it.
Trade secret.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is the fire chief okay with it? Now, I thought over the winter, but it's fine.
Okay, great. Well,
And it's a lamb that wants to be a gnome.
And what we'd like to do is get a group shot with Director Ramsey, Chief Weiss, and the mayor.
These other gentlemen that you were helping.
Great.
Chief Weiss wants a closer look at that hydrant.
Some great artists.
Yeah, I'd say.
What a crew.
That's awesome.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Pink desert cat. Pink and tan.
Cute.
And Chief, Chief Weiss, 35 is a good start. How many fire hydrants do we have in the community? How many? How much do we have, Mike?
We have 1,612.
So we have plenty left. All right, 1,600.
All right, well, thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. Before we move on the agenda, we had one quick trustee item about our strategic plan committee, and trustee Addington.
Yes, at our last meeting, you all voted to form the strategic plan committee, and I have made several calls out into the community. And if the mayor wants to make these appointments and you all concur, the committee will be made up of Steve May, our village manager. He kind of represents the village. We look at that from the standpoint that a lot of the staff people will have to be involved in some of this implementation, so we might as well get Steve involved so he can keep them informed. Amy Quattrone from the assistant principal at School District 201 Junior High. Again, that brings the schools kind of involved, and Amy's very active and involved. Larry Forsberg from our business community. Rebecca Schabel, who is from, I think, Ashford subdivision, and she was involved from day one and very active and very vocal in how this all came to be. Amy Porter, who a lot of you know, Amy, I think, had been a trustee with the library, and it was also very active in the discussion of how this came together. Greg Pill, former business owner in town and a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then I as the chairman. So that would be our 7-member committee, and if everyone concurs and we all go along with this, then I'll call our first meeting, and then we'll start moving along with this.
Yeah, you just got, they're all appointed if they volunteered, they're on it. So
Okay.
you can move ahead, trustee Addington.
And we'll have our first meeting, and I'll report back.
All right.
Thank you. Moving on in the agenda, items removed from the consent agenda. Any of the trustees want any item removed? Seeing none, I'd ask Manager May to please read.
Thank you. First on the consent agenda this evening are village board minutes. Board to consider approving the minutes of the village board meeting held February 18th, 2016. Next is finance ordinance number 20 in the amount of $721,559.88. Next are purchase orders. First purchase orders, CDS, Office Technologies, $19,809. That's for the police, the in-car camera equipment. Next purchase order is Rush Truck Centers of Illinois, $10,268.89 for unanticipated repair to ambulance, Unit 1835. Next purchase order, KLF Enterprises, $27,025. This is you already awarded the contract. This is a purchase order encumbering that dollar amount. It's for the demolition services of both 505 North Grant and 224 Willard. Next purchase order is Seco Consultants, $16,675. This is for the material testing and the construction inspection services for the 2016 motor fuel tax, or our street resurfacing project for 2016, which hasn't been awarded yet, but this is just the engineering component. Next purchase order, Baxter & Woodman, $14,500. This is engineering design services for the water main interconnect at Suffield Gardens that we, not really interconnect, the exchange or the reconfiguration. And we talked about that at Public Works Committee meeting. That amount, if I didn't say what it was $14,500. Last purchase order, Standard Equipment Company, $6,670, represents communication headsets, and that brings the total of all purchase orders to $94,947.89, and therefore the total of purchase orders and finance ordinance number 20 is $816,507.77. Last on the consent agenda is the 2016 DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference Legislative Action Program, and the board to consider a resolution endorsing the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference Legislative Action Program, of which Trustee Addington described briefly. The village board is asked annually by DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference to consider endorsing their LAP, and this then provides their staff with direction on what needs to be done and communicated to the legislators. And that is it for the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Addington to approve.
Second by Little.
Motion been made and seconded. On the question.
Just one, Steve, on those communication headsets, whose department is that for?
It's a Public Works Department. It's a good question. This is one of the things we didn't get to at the Public Works Committee meeting, but it is Mike can help me describe it. It's a self-contained headset for working in the field and in noisy environments, and in particular our work at the depot and the, they call it flagging, but it's the communication with the people and the equipment. And these headsets are designed, they're hear-through equipment, but then you can also communicate with each other. And talk a little bit about your test that you did with them.
Yeah, we have multi-purpose for these sets of headsets. There's going to be 4 headsets we're going to purchase, and we're going to try them out and make sure they work right before we purchase any in the future, any more than that. But we're looking to use them for jetting, because when we have communication down the street with walkie-talkies, when you're in that machine, it's very loud, it's hard to communicate. When we're on the depot, BNSF requires us to have a flagger, and when you're in a Bobcat, what we're using now is walkie-talkies, and a lot of times when the train is coming, it interferes with the walkie-talkie, so we lose that communication. So we tried it out. We did a demonstration. We had Jim Cates at the depot, and we had John Yeater all the way down by Downers Grove, right at Williams there, and they were able to communicate with no problem at all. It's a safety issue. With BNSF, they really want us to be able to communicate. There's been times in the past where we've just haven't been able to communicate the proper way, and luckily for us, nobody's ever gotten hurt, but we want to be proactive. We don't ever take a chance on somebody getting hurt at the depot, snow removal or cutting grass or whatever we're doing out there. Anytime we do anything around the depot.
They can speak through those then also, too?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, you can. Yep. It's and we're going to use it for street sweeping also. So if we have 2 units out, they can communicate with each other. You get about a half a mile to a mile range depending on how the day is, if it's cloudy, if it's clear. There's a lot of things that play a part. But the big expense of this, the headsets themselves aren't that expensive. It's the base unit that's the big expense. So once we purchase the base unit, anytime we buy any additional headsets, the cost is very minimal.
Great. Thank you.
Good, thank you. That's
That was a good question.
Good answer, yeah. Any other questions? Anybody in the audience? Any questions? Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Parker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Okay. Motion's passed. Move on to unfinished business. There is none this evening. On to new business. The first item on the agenda has been removed, so we'll move on to the second item is 311 East Ogden Avenue, used auto sale special use. Board to consider an ordinance approving a request from Midwest Auto Haas to allow the sale of used automobiles in the B2 General Business District. And Community Development Director Ziegler.
Thank you, Mayor. The applicant received a negative recommendation from EDC and from Planning and Zoning Commission with a 2 positive, 3 negative vote due to concerns about lack of stormwater management on site and not meeting the intent of the comprehensive plan, which recommends retail, restaurants, and redevelopment of underutilized sites. The comp plan recommends working with property owners to improve the appearance of their sites, which raises the image of the entire commercial corridor, which in this case is the Westmont Auto Mile. Staff does not feel enough investment is occurring on site and does not does not recommend approval of the special use. I'm available for any questions, and the representative from the Midwest Auto House is also here tonight.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve Addington.
Second, Nero.
Motion made and second to approve as presented. On the question. No, come on, this is a good time.
Hi, my name is Max. I'm representing Midway Auto House, and I was here before. I don't know, probably I met most of you guys already, and just want to catch up quickly because that corner, I didn't assume that corner is also a big problem for a village, and nobody has a really fast solution for it because of that stormwater and flood that happened before. Basically, I'm only one brave one who came to here because everybody who looked at that property just gave up, even not without any trying. And you guys don't want that property sitting around because it's vacant for 3 years. Nobody doing with that property nothing. It's been successful dealership for 30 years in the past, so I want to reopen same business, same use like it was before. We're not changing anything. The structure is the same, lot is the same. We're leaving everything the same like it was before. To address that stormwater, I know that it was kind of hard to work with the owner because he bought that property at the peak and he invested a lot of money in that property. He overpaid for it, so it's really probably hard for him also just to come and invest even more into that property. So my understanding, it's not going to be easy solution for a village because I know that village wants to have something else in that property, not dealership, maybe some kind of restaurant or something. But it's not going to be fast solution for village, and I think I'm here helping village at least, you know, for a few years to be. It's going to be business at that location, running business. It's not going to look like now. It's basically it's not really bad. It's not abandoned, but it's not good for a village. It's not making money. It looks, you know, not the best what it can be. And basically, I'm trying to help you and asking you guys to help me because I'm trying to run a business. And I think owner gonna work with a village he needs to solve that problem. And if I'm gonna be at that dealership at that property, I also want to protect my investment because at that location I'm gonna have inventory at least $1 million sitting in that parking lot that can be flooded. So I'm gonna be also on your side trying to solve that problem and work with the owner as much as I can, you know, to protect myself. If you have any questions to me, can answer. Basically, I'm just trying to run successful business in here, and location been 30 years dealership in here. I'm not changing anything, not asking something, you know, something strange or.
Any questions?
What concerns me is the stormwater issue. we've had issues in the past, nothing's being done to try to control that or possibly stop it from ever happening again. And that is a big concern that I have, is what happens if we get another 3, 4, 5, 6 inches or whatever, because there's nothing being done to alleviate the problem before you're actually going into that property. And that's just a concern that I personally have, is the stormwater. We're trying to make a lot of strides within the village to help manage our stormwater, and I think that's going to be a concern, and that's just my personal feeling.
And actually, it is a concern, and it concerns me also. So I'm going to try to do my best to work with the owner to solve that problem. And I know that village also want to work with the owner, and we, in the beginning stages, you know, trying to negotiate and see how it can be solved.
And I don't, Jill, I don't want to put you, I guess I am going to put you on the spot, but as far as a comprehensive plan, it kind of contradicts some of the things in there.
Right, right. The comp plan recommends supporting the high-end dealerships in the area, assemblage of sites, and then also just supporting the stormwater efforts in the area. So unfortunately, there just hasn't been, you know, any effort for that stormwater, you know, since the flood in 2013.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to say I agree with you as far as, you know, seeing that space vacant, that bothers all of us, I believe. But I again, like Marie said, I can't see going forward without addressing the flooding issues there in some way. So.
Yeah, but my understanding that so far there is no like a real communication what can be done.
Well,
So
I know they could solve it, but it's expensive.
Yeah, but and it's gonna be not really fast. So you can do it really fast. You have to do all preparation and everything, and it's gonna be like what, $800,000, $900,000. So it has to come from somewhere, and now owner has no income. So at least if he has some income, it makes sense, you know, to move forward. So we kind of.
I can't see just kicking it down the road, you know, to deal with this again in the future.
Yeah, but we're going like into nowhere. If no business, if you guys have another solution, another business, you know, I'm not saying anything, but I don't see another solution here.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping that
it's not easy. Yeah, it's nobody happy with what's going on, but you know, it's at least it's best what it can be.
It probably wouldn't shock a lot of people that I disagreed. I was one of the few votes that was for it at the economic development because, you know, I don't see anyone putting that money into that property, waiting in line. I know that there's this grand hope that someday someone's going to put that money into that property. I know from talking to Larry and so forth, we almost feel that there has to be a village incentive to make that happen. And it was a car dealership before. It brings sales tax to our area. I know one of the main focal points was that the values of your car was a concern, I think, for a lot of people at the EDC, and I not to speak for staff, but I know that was one of their concerns. But I've really been kind of looking at the cars on Ogden, and I see a lot of, at the used high-end lots, I see a lot of lower priced cars, and they have the stickers on there just like any, you know, what we're concerned with the fly-by-night type dealerships, and again, I see a lot of that at our big dealerships. So
can I say something? I drove by a couple days ago through Ogden a couple times, and we have those brand names, Lexus, Porsches, and everybody, but in the front we don't have Lexuses,
right?
We don't have Mercedeses. We have all those another cars because we're trying to sell another cars also, so it's
so that's why I, you know, will be in favor of having, you know, that situation change. But again, I do appreciate the previous committees and their opinions on it. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody from the audience have any comments? Seeing none, then I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
No.
Trustee Nero.
No.
Trustee Barker.
No.
Trustee Guzzo.
No.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Okay, fails. The motion fails. So if you want to talk to staff and maybe look at other options, thank you. Moving on the agenda, new business B, award of bid proposal 2016 pedestrian LED retrofit lighting project. Board to consider an ordinance accepting the bid proposal for LED OLAs for the village's 2016 pedestrian LED retrofit lighting project and authorizing a contract consistent with the bid documents. And we have Public Works Director Ramsley to discuss a little bit more detail.
Thank you, Mayor. The village accepted bid proposals from 4 suppliers for the 2016 pedestrian LED retrofit lighting project for the CBD district. The low bidder was Littlest of Chicago, Illinois, for a low bid of $50,250. The project will be partially funded by a $25,000 grant from the Illinois Clean Energy Community Foundation that village staff secured in 2015. One issue that we had with this project was at the staff meeting a couple days ago, I had mentioned to staff that we were having trouble finding or getting the information about the references. So the last 2 days, I've been doing my due diligence and calling other municipalities who've used this manufacturer of lights to make sure that they're happy with the lights. I talked to the Public Works Director in Boca Raton today. I also talked to I think he was a facilities manager in Fort Lauderdale.
You didn't
and I talked to
go there to talk to him? Yeah. You did it on
I wanted to, but I just couldn't. I wish I could have flown there. But and then I also talked to Vail, Colorado. Vail, Colorado just got done putting 1,100 of these similar lights in their CBD district, and they're very happy with the lights. Boca Raton just did 121 change out, and Fort Lauderdale just did 138, I believe. So they all three of them seem they're very happy with the manufacturer and with the lights.
How many
unfortunately, they've only been in for a year.
How many are we doing?
We are doing approximately, it depends on the cost of the lights. Once we figure it all out, we should do right around 150 lights. Right now we have 223 down in our CBD district. So we're hoping to get all the lights done on Cass Avenue and probably all the ones on Quincy. We will not be doing the depot lights. There's 32 there. We're going to wait and see if we can get grant money from another fund. But we will be, if this is secured, we will definitely get all the lights on Cass Avenue done.
And the grant we do have is about to expire if we don't.
It expires April 30th. Yeah. And if we choose not to move forward tonight, we'll have to just waive on the grant. We won't have enough time to resubmit anything. We'll run out of time. So,
I have a motion.
So move Guzzo.
Second, Barker.
Motion made and seconded on the question.
You're comfortable moving forward now after speaking?
I am. Once I talked to the municipality, I was a little leery because they weren't calling us back. Sure. And I'm like, why aren't these municipalities calling us back? I'm like, so I actually reached out personally and reached out to each one of them. And for one reason or not, they just, they were busy. They just didn't call me back. So, but yeah, I feel very comfortable now with the material. So.
Thank you.
So then, is this tie into us repaving those crosswalks also, or is it?
No, this is totally separate. This is just going to be for the pedestrian lighting downtown. We're just retrofitting the light bulbs themselves. We're not even changing the domes yet, the covers yet, because that's going to be hopefully next year's part of the project. This grant was very specific. We had to show that we're doing something green to, save energy. The domes, obviously, you're not saving energy. We're purchasing the domes. We will do that separately in a budget process this year, but we had to show something that we're doing something to improve the environment. And by changing the light bulbs that we have now to LED, we'll be doing that.
Is this the same one you did the test on in the parking lot?
Yeah, we had 2 lights. That's a good point. We had one out in front here and we had one in the back. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but the lights are very bright. And what's nice about these lights is you can adjust the lights to different wattages. So if you want the lights to be dimmer, you can adjust them. If you want them to be brighter, you can adjust them. When I talked to Vail, Colorado, their residents wanted them very dim because they like to go at night and look at the stars. If the lights are too bright, they can't look at the stars. So he made that comment. He's like, we're at 45% wattage right now, where other towns like Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale are about 85%. So you can adjust them any way you want. And obviously, the dimmer they are, the more energy you save. So.
Additional questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Guzzo. Yes. Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Little. Yes. Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll move on to item C, Kurtz paramedic contract. The board to consider an ordinance approving a contract for ambulance service between Kurtz Paramedic Service Incorporated and the Village of Westmont. Chief Weiss.
Thanks, Mayor. Kurtz proposed to amend the existing contract for ambulance service by increasing pricing over the next 2 years by 3%, and then extending the term for an additional 3 years at a not-to-exceed 2% price increase for each renewal year. The village attorney is proposing a new contract which incorporates the pricing and renewal terms, includes other language-related identification, and language recommended by myself and my staff. And Public Safety Committee recommends approval, and I'll turn it over to John.
Yeah, the underlying contract with Kurtz was approved at least 10-plus years ago. The relationship with Kurtz goes back to 1998. And I thought it was time to look at that contract anew and update some of the legal and operational terms. Chief and Lynn Drawley had some operational clarifications to make. I wanted some strengthening of the indemnification language, and Kurtz reviewed the changes, agreed to them, and we'll sign off on this once and if you guys approve it.
Beautiful.
Do you have a motion?
Motion Addington to approve.
Second, Little.
Motion made and second. Any additional questions, comments? Anybody from the audience? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo. Yes. Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Lowe.
Yes.
Motion is approved. New business D, intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Clairton Hills. Board to consider an ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Clairton Hills in regard to the rehabilitation of Richmond Avenue. And I'll ask Manager May to give some additional information.
Mayor, this is in fact South Richmond Avenue. We do share a boundary with Clairton Hills, both north and south. But on South Richmond Avenue, the municipal boundaries are the center line of the street. They are scheduling. We did North Richmond as part of one of our projects, and they reimburse us, and in turn, we have the same 50-50 relationship with them for South, but they are the coordinating entity, and they're planning pavement repairs on South Richmond, and this agreement spells out the relationship and who's responsible for what, essentially defining everything down the center line. And you'll also recall, just on the side note, but Mike, we talked about this previously too, because we're doing a water main improvement to get that done in advance of their construction.
Okay.
Which I just saw the permit.
And this is consistent with the agreements we've had in the past.
It is.
Do I have a motion?
Motion, Nero.
Can I chime in? There are two minor corrections to make in the IGA. Can you make the motion subject to the attorney finalizing two minor corrections?
Sure. Motion to approve, subject to the attorney's minor corrections. Nero.
Second, Guzzo.
Motion been made in second to approve with those changes. On the question.
Just that I'm sorry, I caught a
Those were.
couple minor mistakes in the IGA late and communicated those to Manager May. He's transmitted those on to Clairton Hills. I don't expect any issue whatsoever. It's just kind of some clerical errors. Nothing substantive.
Comments? Any more questions? Roll call.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo. Yes. Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little. Yes. Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
And motion passes. We'll move on to new business E, front yard setback text amendment. Board to consider an ordinance approving a text amendment to the zoning code that addresses encroachments in the front yard in the R3 single-family detached residence district. Again, Community Development Director Ziegler.
Thank you, Mayor. This text amendment was prompted by staff discussions regarding new construction at stricter front yard setbacks that were unintentionally changing the nature and character of established neighborhoods. Planning and Zoning Commission made a unanimous positive recommendation last month following discussion and review of photos within the community of new construction, comparison to what other villages are doing, and analysis of the effect on new permit submittals. We feel this may be helpful to single-family residential builders who are looking at sites near the downtown and other established areas that have closer setbacks. We're excited to offer this amendment and recommend approval. I'm available for any questions.
Do I have a motion?
Motion by Addington to approve.
Second by Little.
Motion made and seconded to approve as presented. On the question.
I would just like to compliment the staff on all their hard work on this. They did a great job, and Joe went through this backwards and forwards and then some, but thank you.
Yes, he provided just a fantastic staff report, lots of graphs and charts and pictures. He really did a lot of due diligence on it. It was
Yeah, we called it common sense, you know.
Any additional comments? Anybody from the audience? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, and we'll let Jill stay there for new business F, video gaming text amendment. Board to consider an ordinance approving a text amendment to the zoning code to remove distance separation restrictions between establishments with video gaming terminals. It's all yours again.
Thank you. The Planning and Zoning Commission also discussed this text amendment at the February meeting and made a 4-to-1 positive recommendation. They agreed that it was a positive change to remove from the code after we had made some other updates to the liquor license classification and our definition section. Community Development Committee also felt the zoning code regulation was no longer necessary, and we recommend approval. And just as an update, we've had some inquiries from other established restaurants that are interested in moving to Westmont and would like to incorporate video gaming. And I've kept them in the loop that we recommend removing the zoning code regulation.
And this is consistent with what we discussed when we implemented it, that we revisit it once we had the different licenses in place. So, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve Barker.
Second, Addington.
On the question. None? Anybody? Again, this is exactly what we're going to remove the distance. I think it was 500 feet?
500 feet.
Yeah, so now it's no distance.
Again, so then that kind of, it becomes out of our hands and into the Illinois state hands, other than our liquor license, correct?
Incorrect.
Okay.
No.
Incorrect, because you're taking it out of the zoning ordinance, because that's an impediment to a local business that's either existing or wants to move here, like a restaurant, and have video gaming, because they'd have to apply for the variance process. It was discussed at the board level conceptually that it would stay in the video gaming licensing section and the liquor section of the Code of Ordinances to still try and maintain that 500-foot distance separation requirement. And if a business wants a waiver, they can come straight to you without expenditure of any money, without wasting any time, and seek a waiver from those two code provisions. So the 500-foot distance separation is still there. It's just an easier process to get a waiver from if justified.
Thank you. Explains it really well. Any other comments? Good from the audience. Roll call, please.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We'll move on to miscellaneous. At this time, does anybody have any items they'd like to mention? No? If not, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the possible acquisition of property by the village for the purpose pursuant to Section 2C5 of the Open Meeting Act. Do I have a motion?
Motion, Addington, to go into executive session for the purpose stated.
Second, Nero.
Motion made and second. I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Addington.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barry.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Okay, we will adjourn in executive session, and following executive session, there will not be any further business. So this portion now is